2 weeks ago, I made a video about why I love The Legend of Korra. It was a few things that I believe make the show stand on par with Avatar: The Last Airbender and stand right just on its own. Well, today, I wanted to discuss a few more reasons why I love this show. Not taking away from The Last Airbender, of course. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Music. Now don't get me wrong, many other shows employ music in such a perfect way, such as Avatar: The Last Airbender and Young Justice. But what I like more about Korra is that there's a new sound for each and every scene, and each and every episode. Going through the soundtrack, we can see that each intense moment has its own music. Each villain has their own motif. This really establishes a presence for the characters and the environment. Listening to Korra ride home on the boat, really puts into perspective how her day has gone. And listening to Kuvira establish dominance, really demonstrates her power and ferocity. The use of these unique tracks in every scene really adds to the show in a special way. And that's just another reason why Korra is so great. Colors. If you pick up a pristine Blu-ray copy of Avatar: The Last Airbender and dive into every episode, you can see a pattern. Each episode has such a stuck color palette. Season 1 is blue, Season 2 is beige or green, and Season 3 is red. You may have not noticed it on your first time or second time watching the show, but after watching it a bunch of times, that becomes so blatantly obvious. It's as if the animators had a restricted color palette for each episode. Take the Siege of the North, all blue. Boiling Rock, red and gray. Bitter Work, all beige. Blind Bandit, all green. Even without watching these episodes again, you can pick out the dominant color in each and every episode. Now let me just say, there's nothing wrong with having one dominant color. The Last Airbender actually pulls this off really, really well, discerning each scene and each season from one another with these colors. Just me personally, I'm not a big fan of this limited color palette. Korra, however, really excels at showing us some amazing color difference. Just take the first episode. Inside the house, we get the wood, dark brown and beige. And then as we move outside, even though we're at the South Pole, the dominant color isn't blue, and we actually see some red and some brown pushing through. And even more, we get to see orange from their firebending training. When Tenzin arrives, the sun shines perfectly on the surface to reveal an orange glow brightening the scene. Even when Korra arrives at the very industrialized Republic City, color is everywhere. From her visit to the park to her trip to the little food stand. There is no dominant color that is overriding each and every scene. Even here, her boat ride to the temple, color is everywhere. And this I absolutely love. It adds an extra layer of magic to each scene. Especially these shots in the spirit world in Season 2. It's so incredibly beautiful. Color is utilized in such an extraordinary way, in a way that The Last Airbender never did. Timing. The spacing between episodes and seasons was done extremely well in my opinion, especially from Season 3 to Season 4. We come back 3 years later, and we only get sprinkled bits of information here and there. And everything was revealed to us in time. For Season 3, we start off with this very happy and exciting time with new benders being introduced. And then we move to a much more intense story, with Zahir and his gang being introduced through a few episodes. And this never feels rushed into anything. Even with new stories happening every season, I always felt as if we were given the proper timing gaps between each episode, making the show a very nice story to engage with. And finally, filler. One thing The Last Airbender did poorly was transitions between stories and introductions of minor characters. So many times we had an entire episode dedicated to the gang moving from one location to another. Or what I really disliked was entire episodes dedicated to introducing one minor character. Just a single one. Most of these happened in season 1, so I can give them a pass on this one. But the Kyoshi Warriors episode, the only main plot we got was the introduction of Suki and the Kyoshi Warriors. For most of the episode, Aang was just being chased by girls and riding fish. It wasn't really productive towards the plot of the major story, and overall it wasn't even that interesting. And there were a few more episodes like this that were just doing one thing and not really progressing the story in a meaningful way. Korra doesn't suffer from this at all. Because each season was limited to 13 episodes, I believe this actually made them better, as each episode progressed the story and characters in a meaningful and insightful way. Aside from remembrances, which I didn't really like, for the rest of the episodes, watching them, I never ever thought for once, wait, why does this episode exist again? Because Korra got straight into the grit of the story, and I really liked that. It made coming back each week to watch every episode that much better. Overall, as I said in my previous video, I love The Legend of Korra. The show really feels like a complete package as it has everything a good show needs. But people continue to give it such a bad rep, and I think this is due to very biased comparisons. They are comparing the worst of Korra to the best of The Last Airbender, instead of finding an even ground to compare against. Even The Last Airbender had some god-awful episodes. I'm looking at you, Great Divide. But this never comes up when discussing the two shows as a whole. And even as a standalone, people rip into Korra, and I don't know why they're so harsh. I understand that there are definitely a few things that don't make sense. There are a few plot holes that really should have been resolved while they were writing the show, and some things they've just overlooked or been lazy about. But this doesn't take away from the fact that the overall show is a great show. Anyways, I do hope you enjoyed this somewhat longer video. Let me know what your thoughts are on the show, and let me know if you agree with the points I made today. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next time.